Rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Salatu and I welcome you to Living by Design. This is a program, a course, where like-minded people, kindred spirits, work together on a journey to try and identify their life purpose. After identifying their life purpose, they will try to stay fully conscious of that life purpose at all times, then design their lives around that purpose. Questions that we sometimes hear, they make us go, huh? Have you ever heard of such questions? Questions like, who am I? What am I living for? What is my purpose? What is my life for? What am I doing with my life? Or, is this life? Is this how I will live for the rest of my life? If you have ever been faced with such a question and you didn't have an answer, then stick with us. Inshallah, we'll try and walk through certain activities, ideas, thoughts, stories that help us dredge up answers, design them, and apply them in our lives. If you have been faced with such questions and you found an answer, then please join us, because you'll have a choice to renew your questions and your answers, as I tend to do from time to time. And you'll also have a chance to share your experiences on your journey to identify and work with your life purpose. Let me introduce you to a remarkable young man. The last time I spoke to him was about 9 years ago. He was about 32 years old at the time. He worked in a secondary school as a hostel parent and also a part-time teacher. He loved his job. It was a simple job, the kind of job that people tend to look down on, especially if you're a graduate. They wonder, why are you doing that? You could do so much more. But he loved what he was doing. He got married, he had a child. Then, conscious of his responsibilities as a husband, as a father, as a son of parents who were growing older, he started to think more about greater financial independence. The need for greater financial power came up. So he decided that he needed to boost his CV. He needed to have in his CV references that showed he had worked in places that had greater prestige and were more recognized than an ordinary secondary school. So he left his job in that school and took up work with a company. Then he moved on to another company. For 2 years, he was working on his CV. He had better pay and greater opportunity for career advancement. After 2 years, he was offered a position in that same secondary school. He was torn between his current place of work and going back to doing something that he loved. He carried out consultation with different people. He prayed about it. He thought and reflected upon the question, to go back or not to go back. One day he spoke to a boss of his in the office. And his boss asked him, what do you really want to do? He said, I would really love to work in that place. But I thought I would work elsewhere, make some more money, maybe invest the money. Then much later, I'll go back and do what I really love to do. His boss said many of us had such thoughts too. Not every one of us who works here, who has been promoted to such high managerial positions, actually wants to stay here for this long. He said, but we get stuck. We get stuck in the lifestyle we've built. We are used to the salaries we receive. And we sometimes just get too busy to really give time to pursuing the things that we love. He said, so if you want to get out now. The young man put all the advice he had been given together and he left. He went back to the secondary school to continue doing what he loved. That was in September 2010. 9 months later, June 2011, he set off on a trip one Friday afternoon after the Friday congregational prayers. He was going on a 2.5-hour journey. to go and see his mother, his father, his sister, brothers, their families, and also to see old friends from university and secondary school. He left, he never came back. About an hour after he set off on his trip, his wife got a phone call that he had died in a car accident. That's a hard story to tell because it's my story. It's the story of my first husband, Nuruddin Udu. But it's a necessary story to tell. So sometimes I gather my courage, I gather myself, I gather my breath, I tell the story. Because it gives me many lessons about life, about living, about death, and about purpose. It's a sobering place, I agree. Because people talk about finding their life purpose, and it's supposed to be like, let's have fun, let's have an adventure. But it's good to start in a sober place. It's essential. What that young man, my late husband, Nura, as he was commonly called, was doing when he was consulting and asking questions and reflecting, he was trying to answer the question, what is my life for? He was trying to answer the question, what matters most in life? He had a choice between doing what looked good on a CV to others, doing what would work for others, and doing what called to his spirit, what drew his soul. He had to weigh those two. He was trying to answer an essential life question. You see, we are born and we die. Between these two events is a space in time that we occupy, our space. How we occupy that space between the two events matters a lot. Life is always asking us questions, and one question it never stops asking us is, how are you occupying your space between? Like matchsticks, we can do a lot within a short time. We can light a fire that can cook food or burn it. We can light a fire that can warm a house or burn it down and burn the property in it or the people in it. Whether a matchstick works for good or for evil, whether it does nothing, something, or a lot, it makes no difference to the fact that once that matchstick is lit, it will eventually go out. We are all born, we will all die. What we do in the space between is what makes the difference between one kind of life and another. A purposeful life or a life without purpose, without meaning. In this course, Living by Design, we will bring ourselves together and we will go through certain activities. We will talk about these ideas. We will try to apply them. We will reflect on the application and the outcome, all of which are designed to help us design that space we occupy between our birth and our death. Design our lives around our purpose. Our purpose. Let's talk about that for a minute. Our purpose, the collective human purpose, is the purpose for which all human beings were made by the divine designer, our creator. One name he's known by in Arabic is Allah. He has many other names. Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, Al-Musawwir, the fashioner. He tells us about the purpose for which he has made us in a book I love to call God's Email to Humanity. It's a message to anyone who wishes to reflect, who wishes to enrich his or her heart, who wishes to connect with the life source. The book is the Quran. When the divine designer first wanted to make the first human being, he said to the angels that he is going to put on earth a Khalifa. In another part of that same email to us, He describes an aspect of his relationship with us. He says he's the one that placed us on earth as Khalifa. Both words mean the same thing. One is singular, one is plural. Khalifa. Khalifa means a representative, one who represents his will. Custodian, the one who takes care of the earth. Inheritors, the one who gains, who gets, who acquires. Successor, the one who passes on to others, just as he has gotten from others. I would like to stop here for a quick break. In the next segment, we will explore this idea a little bit more, then talk about individual purpose.